And joining me now on the news at 10 to look at the face-off between the union and Arik management is the Managing Director, Arik Air, Mr. Chris Ndulwe. I'm also joined by the National President of the Air Transport Senior Association of Nigeria, Mr. Benjamin Okewu. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us on the news at 10. But let me begin with you, Mr. Ndulwe. This dispute over debt is something that you've said is unsubstantiated and you're in court.
Yeah.
How would you describe what happened today then by the unions?
Yeah, what happened today is quite unfortunate and it's totally unjustifiable. We woke up this morning to hear that FAAN has not allowed our staff to go into the terminal building. And then we began to ask questions and they said we're owing them. It was later that we got to hear figures about 12.5 billion. And then, you know, again and again, FAAN has continued to brandish figures, different figures at different times, about what Arik is owing them. And what we have asked so many times is that, is there no other airline in Nigeria, whether domestic airline or foreign airline, that owes FAAN? Because we've never heard that any other airline owes FAAN except Arik Air. And we said we have paid to FAAN what we owe FAAN, and what has been established has been outstanding. And the bulk of what is paid to FAAN today is paid in advance. And that is why when people fly, we buy tickets and we stick it to the back of their boarding pass. And again, so we can't understand why this is happening, especially coming from unions. Now, we no longer hear of FAAN management or any other. It's now the unions or workers of FAAN that came out today to disrupt operations at the airport. Okay,
let me just give Mr. Okewu a chance to respond to what you've said. Mr. Okewu, you heard what the Managing Director has said. The figure is in dispute. He says Arik has paid what it owes. So why the protest today then?
Well, I think it's important that we correct the impression. What happened today was not a protest. Farm workers who render services to Arik decided that today they were withdrawing their services because Arik is not paying them for the services they are rendering. So it's different entirely from a protest. It was never a picketing, but an action taken by farm workers to say that we are not rendering services to Arik today. And I think they have the fundamental and constitutional right to decide that they are withdrawing their services for somebody or an organization that they render services to and is not paying.
But the Managing Director himself has said that that is not quite the case, because he says that they have paid for those services that were rendered.
Well, I think we are being economical with the truth, because I feel ashamed to always come on channels to talk about Arik claiming that they are not owing. What it means is that every other person that is claiming that Arik is owing is either a vagabond or a non-entity. Because if they are not owing, why is everybody claiming that they are owing? I must say this critically. It's easier to say, why are they not every other airline not owing? The fundamental question that the MD of Arik should answer is, why did Arik decide to pull out of the IATA platform where other international airlines are existing? They are there, and IATA is helping them to pay all their claims while they do the reconciliation on behalf of the airlines.
All right, Mr. Okewu,
also pay.
Let me just give him a chance to respond to that. How much are you owing, if you're owing?
No, what has happened is that today, every debt is paid pay as you go. That's what they have adopted today for all airlines. And what the bulk of what is in contention is what is coming from some years back. And that is being reconciled by a group of people set up by both Arik staff, FAAN staff, set up by the Federal Ministry of Aviation to do that, to finish that reconciliation. And, you know, under normal circumstances, if you are a supplier or if you provide services to a company or an airline and you have an issue, you will notify the company that you provide services to and tell them that this is the issue. And you lay the cards on the table and you give an ultimatum possibly. And you say, look, you have to pay this amount. But these guys will ambush us in the morning as people are waking up and going to office. They discover that the place is locked. So this is actually not in good faith. And obviously, they don't mean well. And that's the issue here. And they're obviously being used by someone or anybody just to cause problems and make sure that they stifle the airline.
All right, Mr. Okewu, reconciliation is still ongoing. That's what we hear from Mr. Ndulwe. Why did you not wait for that process to to come through, and he's accused you of being used by someone.
I came here with a lot of documents, and I wanted to actually show the agreement reached between the federal government of Nigeria when Ajia Binta was the permanent secretary then at the level of the Federal Ministry of Aviation, where it was decided that from 1st September 2015, every airline in Nigeria will be operating with all the parastatals on the basis of pay as you go. I want to tell you categorically that between that time and now, despite the decision that let all the previous debts be reconciled and pay as you go commence, Arik, as we speak, is not implementing the pay as you go. The pay as you go that we talk about, there are several charges that FAAN charges for services rendered to Arik. There are areas of about rent, passenger service charge, landing. There is also electricity and service recovery charge. All these areas are services that are meant to be paid by Arik, and they have not been paying. I have a letter on Arik letterheaded paper with me here, where it is stating the amount that FAAN is claiming by their own bills that Arik is owing, and the amount that Arik have accepted that they are owing. But unfortunately, they have refused to pay what they are owing to allow for reconciliation. Just before you come to that, we understand you withdrew from IATA. Why did you?
No, we were not paying them on the IATA platform. We never started paying FAAN on the IATA platform. So I don't know why. I don't know what he's talking about withdrawal. And he talked about 12.5 billion naira. What service amounts to 12.5 billion naira?
He says
I've asked them whether FAAN is selling aircraft or something. Otherwise, what amounts to, is it rent of terminal and space and all that? What amounts to 12.5 billion naira? Outstanding. Arik to date has paid over 18 billion naira to FAAN. And I'm hearing that we have 12.5 billion naira outstanding. So, I mean, what service are we talking about?
All right, I'm afraid that's where we're going to have to leave it, as you are in court, as you've said, to thank the National President of the Air Transport Senior Association of Nigeria, Mr. Benjamin Okewu, for joining us on the news at 10, and of course the Managing Director of Arik Air, Mr. Chris Ndulwe. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.